record that the devil now came and tempted, follow me, and tempted Eve. That God told her, don't eat apple. Devil came, tempted Eve. Eve collect apple, chop am, carry am, give your husband chop. You see, that action is the reason why relationship with men and women became complicated. In the beginning, it was not so. Before the apple was not so. And I'll tell you why. I will read it scripture to explain, and you just think about it independently, not taking my word for it. So I will go to verse 3. I'll just start from verse 10. Then Genesis 3 verse 10. So he said, I heard your voice in the garden, and I was afraid because I was naked and I hid myself. And he said, who told you that you were naked? Have you eaten from the tree of which I commanded you? That was God speaking to Adam, that you should not eat. Then the man said, the woman whom you gave to me to be with me, she gave me of the tree, and I ate it. Your wife went to go and borrow money from bank. And then she gave you the money, you could use the money to pay house rent. Then when the bankers came to come and say, maybe you were not able to pay the money, the bankers came say, where's your wife? You know they are bankers who? He says, it's the one that borrowed money. But the money that she borrowed, how can you even give you the money? You're the one that spent everything. You say, carry her and be going. Does that look like somebody that said, you are the bone of my bone and the flesh of my flesh in Genesis 2? Definitely not. You can't treat someone that is bone of your flesh of flesh that way. Because that person is supposed to be like you. That means you are supposed to be. That's why Jesus came to rewrite what Adam did. That's why the Bible says, for God so loved the world that he gave. So Jesus came to die for man, so that what Adam did, Adam said, I don't know, because what consequence of this sin? Now only this one will make God, if you want to punish somebody, that is a root cause, because that means that's the first evidence of men being what? Selfish. If you gave me the apple, you said, should I eat this apple? You saw the apple, you saw that the apple, you say, it says, you chop up. You don't want to take responsibility for your own actions. You now say it is the woman. That is where, so if you don't understand this fundamental principle, you will not understand why it seems like men and women are fighting. The reason is that then if also can read. Now, I'm speaking to men here. A man is supposed to be a cover for his wife. That is the intention. But you can see that Adam don't cover anybody. When judgment came, Adam said, I know Sabi, you, God, if you want to strike somebody to death, strike her now. God now said, no. God, who was the just judge, carry them together. But God didn't curse them. I was thinking about laws in service today. When something is a law means that if you behave in a particular way, these are the consequences. The law doesn't mean you don't have somebody not have, if you like, it's like law of gravity. If you jump up, you fall down. God doesn't have to say, I curse you, you fall down. No. So God told them that for these things you have done, all the things that God read to, God just read the consequence of the actions to them. All God read that in labor of your hands, you till. God didn't curse them. Saying woman, that's why people say God cursed. God didn't curse woman. What happened was that the consequences of eating the apple is what led to the things that women are going through. Amen. Are you understanding what I'm saying now? It wasn't a curse. Read the Bible very well. You will not hear God, I now curse you. No. He said this, because of these things you have done, these are the consequences of what? Your action. So, fundamental truth. Understand that. That's why when you are dealing with any man or woman, understand that they are fallen beings. That means they have shortcomings. If you don't deal with human beings as if they have shortcomings, you will never be able to. Any woman looking for a perfect man, they don't exist. All his movie, forget it. Anything, whatever you have seen, that kind of man doesn't exist. It doesn't mean that men should not attain like now. Growing up, I wasn't allowed to enter the kitchen. But if I tell you how I live now, you will not believe that it's my father that gave back to me. I cook, I do all that kind of thing, even till now. I don't do much as I used to do before because of, I'm a lot busy now, so my wife does more. But I can cook. If For early days when we first got married, when I was not that occupied with spending, I cooked. But I was raised not to enter kitchen. And it was not comfortable for me. What I'm not saying is that every man and woman is falling. And that's where compassion comes in. That if you see somebody behaving like you meet a guy and he doesn't seem to have sense, it's not like he doesn't want to have sense. Well, yeah, because there's a way a guy will behave in a lady, and lady will say, boy, you need sense. And you're wondering, why is it that this guy doesn't have sense? The point is that you must read from the Bible that man is a fallen man. It's also a consequence of the infirmities of a man. So that, because when I hear you, men are scorned, where men are scorned, women are love money, at the fight, it shows that, now, if you are not a Christian, I can understand your conversation. But it shows that you don't understand that the people you are dealing with, I'm married. Ask anybody married. It's not perfect. It's not perfect. It's a journey to perfection. So that even if now I'm going somewhere, because it's a lot I want to say, but at the same time, I don't want to lose the fundamental. Because I went to the Bible so that a man being selfish is not new. I'm not saying that it's right. The reason why Christ came to die is to now show you how to behave. That means that a man can die for another man. That is the reason. That's the way I wanted it to be. Christ saying you are supposed to band together with your wife and said, if she has done it, we have done it. Are you getting my point? That let the consequence of these things be upon us as a union. Not that because what that's smart move. Because imagine if God is a Nigerian judge. You see, you are the one that God is not like a man. God is saying, who took the apple first? You took the apple. Oh yeah, go like this. Yes, now it makes sense now. She gave you the apple. You corrupted him. You don't worry, go free. Adam had become corrupted straight up. Do that to your wife. Imagine the marriage now. While I start, the man still I don't know how. This is my where I start. That's what I mean. Practically, there was no love in that conversation at all. So don't be surprised when you see men. It's been good for one day when problems start. Just man was and you're wondering, are you not supposed to be all man for save God for us all? That is not the kind of relationship man is supposed to have with someone that he wants to. So, not justifying, I'm just saying that is the way, the foundation. So that's why women feel that men are selfish. Men feel that women like to take advantage. Then there's fight. You like money. You don't get sense. You date you sacrifice for you. Nothing will get inside. Then you argue. But in Christ came to show us an archetype that I left my throne in heaven to come and die. I had option now. God had option though. See, so that you can see how you are supposed to give. All of you like Bishop. In fact, Bishop's birthday has given opportunity to talk. All of you like Bishop. And some of you that watched the ceremony, you were impressed by his life, right? No, but to live like that is not to be a selfish person. See, the root cause of all the problems in the relationship is selfishness. That, I'll give an example. I was saying it. I said, first and foremost, understand something. And I'm speaking to men particularly. No man here has time. If you think because you're a man, you have time that you can marry anytime you like, you are not very wise. Not that you are stupid. You are not very wise. I don't want to use any negative word. And I'll explain. If you give birth to your first child at the age of 40, you are going to use your adulthood to raise children. You probably you know see your grandchildren, and grandchildren is what brings fulfillment in old age. It's not your children. So don't think. So when a man says, "I'm young, I have time," you are not looking at life holistically. Imagine Bishop come married at the age of 60. I'm not rushing anybody to get married, but just think about life practically. That if let's say you're a man, you want to marry and want to have children. If you have the first child at the age of 40, at least you will raise them for at least 20 years. Even this age, maybe 25 years. Right? So, do you know what happened to you? You'll be 65. Your first child is just getting married. Or probably you still look for husband. Maybe husband was cast as it. They say husband is cast now. So you are praying for her to marry and you are 65. You say you are old. So there's no, I'm not forcing anybody, but you must think about life. You want to be a footballer. Nobody has time. Nobody. The earlier you start your journey, because whether you start at 40 or at 30, the same mistakes are we that's how you make. You still make the same thing. Nobody learns football game outside the pitch by training by himself. Now, when you enter game, you go not as they be. Me then teach marriage counseling, science of marriage. When you enter the marriage, what they are saying, the older you are, the less energy you have. Let's not lie to you. Nobody gets stronger by age. Nobody. You saw Bishop is 70 now. You said age don't show. But if you see Bishop when he was 40, but his age don't show. Imagine I don't spend his early days doing the things that were necessary. So if you're a man here, don't think you have time. And I'm not trying to force you. I know, someone was saying that pastor was married. That's what I want to force you to do. But think about what I'm saying. If you want to marry, you want to have children. If you don't want to marry, you don't have children, fine, you can take your time. But think about life. That thinking you have time, the enemy has gotten you. All your friends thinking that, and because practically see, because when you marry at the age of 40, the stress, your heart is not as strong as it used to be. The stress of marriage, if you don't get, because it doesn't, well, no matter who you marry, you people must have misunderstanding. Marry Angel Gabriel, you have misunderstanding. She will stress you, you stress her. Normal level. There's not the bishop's wife is what that made us understand that it's not like bishop today. They used to argue. Because bishop say, I never had that. But when she was saying testimony, you heard that. But she will, because, and I will say something about their own time. I also say something about their own time. Because, man, Holy Spirit help me because I have a lot to say. Let me say something. The major reason why there's a challenge in this age with marriage, let me explain why. The concept of marriage in our parents' time was that a woman didn't really have rights. Let's be frank. The things our mothers endured, many of the women here cannot endure it. They will not accept it. Do you get what I'm saying? You didn't have rights. So they can even marry you out of your own will. That means they just carry you and go and give it to one man. He doesn't have to love you. You don't have to love him. Let him just carry you, give you belly. You born 5. Even if you don't love him, you could love him by after 5 today. If you like, be looking for love after 5. Holding law. So the system then was you didn't have a right to choose. So I was raised in a family where my mother was rebel. But all the other women, say my father, you argue with my father as a woman. You know my mother was strong blood because my mother is a Lagos woman. Is my father's particularly you can't put my father, you can't was high profile. So you went to my know that match his profile. But in my family, my mother give him collect. See, 2 of us have to go our separate ways. But the point is that system is what most men you are seeing here are used to. That's you don't know, but that's how they grew up. They grew up, their mother laying down, giving their father food. That's the only is the children. See, you would have probably find it easier to probably the children are born now because the women that are getting married now there's some level of respect for the woman. Countries that marriage is easy are Arab countries because women still don't have rights in those countries. That's why marriage days they don't have any marriage problem there. Hope you know. Once they just give you to one chain, you marry, they don't no women still don't have rights. So in countries where women like America, that there's been some liberation has been made possible. The men now don't understand that kind of that. So she will not submit to me. She will not so waiting will call marry for. And I'm being very sincere. That means The men are not developed enough to handle a woman that wants to have big dreams. Because their mother with big dream. You do primary school teacher or secondary school teacher, finish. United Nations, bank, oil and gas, top level, traveling around the world. For where? It's only the men that travel. So, but the world has changed. So, and for you to marry that kind of woman now, as a man, that she's very exposed, she don't need to passport. And passport doesn't cause no problem. Because you just teaching high level to everything, high level. So, the men are like, so when a woman now meets a man, she's not looking for somebody that she just submit to because he says a man. Those days no longer seems to exist again. She's looking for what does he know? What are his dreams? Those days, even if you don't have any dream, no woman asks any man, what is your dream? It was a question on head off. What's your plan for the next 5 years? What's the plan for this family? For where? When we born first child, we'll figure it out. So but it is not, let me tell you, it's not a death sentence, but it's a challenge for, that's why when the man says that I'm still young, you don't understand that the times you are living in requires that you are advanced. The things that your father got away with, you can't get away with it. The women of these days are fortunately more exposed to things that our parents were not even at liberty. I mean, to marry 3 wives now that are educated in Nigeria now, you have to have money well. If you don't have money, there's no chance. They will not marry you. Because the only reason they marry is that, okay, he has enough money to fund my own dreams. Because all of them have dreams inside. They want to go to London. What is this? They want to even go and do masters. And you must want the masters. If you are going to marry them and say that, okay, I'll marry 3 of you. Or you build 3 mansions for 3 of them. Not that you put 3 of them inside one house. My father put all of them inside one house. So, the men are under pressure. They are trying to match up. Men, I say this to you, it's not impossible. I'll give an example of myself. This is why I say this is that I want to deal with fundamental beliefs. Don't say it's not possible. I can't do it. It's too hard. Once you say that, you have denied yourself opportunity to be great. What the women of this age will unlock in a man is greatness. 100%. However, I want women to also understand that the men you are meeting now don't have the formula to be your husband like that too. What they were born to. So it's the balance you have to understand. What they were born to is where, because it's not what you pick up at old age that's who you are. It's where you grow up that defines who you are. So if you grew up, anybody that is 30 something now, grew up maybe 1994, you have to something like 1994, 1990. At that time, woman liberation was not as strong in Nigeria as it is now. So the way, some of you are married now, the way your mom and your dad used to relate, you can't your mom accept it, you won't accept it. I'm not lying, you won't accept it. But a male child grew up under that situation. And so his perspective of being an husband is what he saw his dad do to his mom. It doesn't have to be done consciously. Let me explain how psychology works. You are a reflection of the environment you grew up. You don't have to even consciously accept it. It has already been ingrained in your mind. I get my point. You are a function of the environment you grew up in. So when you just discover when the man even meets a lady and the way he's talking to you, she's not even humble. Because the man is looking for his mother inside the girl. And the lady is saying, why is he asking me this kind of things? He wants me to come and cook for him and bring the food to his house. Why did you go and buy food outside? Do you get? And she doesn't understand. Now, women, in their own interest, want to be free. So even if the woman grew up in an environment her mom was okay, she doesn't want to marry the man that treated her mom the way that treated her. She doesn't want to. The man wants to recreate what he saw in his father's house. What am I now? Am I lying? The woman you are meeting, doesn't want to express what the mother expressed. The man you're meeting, even if it's trying meeting adjustment, not to now just 360 degrees. Let's meet midway. I will remove some things, but you have to still cook for me even after you've come back from work at 6 p.m. Some people, I still want to eat amala. You say that my mom, if you see my mom's amala, you want to eat his mom's amala as the married man. And don't think it's wrong. I'm saying that don't say, why is he thinking like that? What's wrong with him? That's the only word he knows. That's the only word he knows. You want to escape the word of your mother. He wants to try and see how he can recreate the word of his mother. Now, you will now read books. Tell them all the men are saying empowerment. See, even men that talk on social media about women empowerment, get into their marriage. It's not like that. It's not like that. They just speak theory. But it is wisdom. Because the missing link is wisdom. How? Then how do men transition? And how do women also understand? Because that's where the missing link is. Now, one fundamental issue. Now, there's some issues here. I'm a pastor that are spiritual. Some people are suffering from altars that are affecting their ability to marry. That means even if they understand the fundamental principles, people are repulsed. They are repulsive. Nobody wants to have anything to do with them. That one day. But what I've generally, that's why the reason why this argument on social media is that it's almost like two different worlds. It doesn't have to be that way. Now, I'll share it because what I'm trying to say is that how do you solve differences? Because even advanced world now is a problem. Men are lying that they are supporting men empowerment. But when they marry, they divorce after 6 months. Why are they divorcing? They will not tell anybody. It's fight. What does irreconcilable difference mean? English word. Irreconcilable difference. Why can't it be reconciled? As the woman turned to a man? No. English. Everybody is explain. Now, but the solution to difference is love. Now, I'm not going to use love as a vague word here. So that we say, love, what does it mean? Now, let me say something very important. You must understand, because I'm talking to a church, I'm in a church now. You must understand how spiritual laws work. Now, this is where I believe I've been able to get everybody's attention to an extent. You must understand how spiritual laws work. And in this church, if you attend this church, after some time, you have to understand how spiritual laws work. Read the Bible. He said the things of the spirit are spiritually discerned. Spiritual laws are higher than natural laws. That means spiritual laws are higher than the law of gravity. But spiritual laws are not vague. They are set of things you do. That when you do them, the outcomes are certain. That means there are spiritual laws in the Bible that God says, if you do this, this will happen. One of the most powerful spiritual law in the scripture is the law of seed time and harvest. And that thing is not about money, because people have personalized to think that it's about giving. Oh, it's a spiritual law. There's what they call spiritual intelligence. One of the things that Pastor Bodio has that people don't know is that Pastor Bodio, he doesn't be like a wali. One thing Pastor Bodio has is spiritual intelligence. Tell. And when you have spiritual intelligence, that is the real intelligence you need to read in life. Let me tell you one thing. They said people give bishop. Now, what I'm saying now is my own interpretation. Because if I told Pastor myself, this thing I'm telling you, I told him. I mean, I have it to an extent because I must have it now as my pastor. Because that's why when we give Pastor Tony that gift, it is spiritual intelligence that makes us give that kind of gift. Now, let me explain. Two powerful men of God in this country, 2 popular men of God bought Bishop gifts. But they bought him a Rolls Royce Corina. He says each one is called 1.5 billion. Bishop does not leave water. What Bishop used to move is a helicopter. Now, it's expensive gift. Where is Bishop? No, Bishop doesn't leave that place. Bishop has not left Nigeria in 5 years. But somebody gives him. Now, those men are spiritual. I respect all of the two of them. But what pastor gave Bishop? Have you seen Bishop's picture? Yes. Bishop put it in the Bible. Pastor was telling me that because Bishop moved house. Because Pastor had given that Bishop that gift before, 30 years ago. But when Bishop moved house, he got missing. But Pastor said, anytime he's talking, I hear him saying he wants that gift again. That is spiritual intelligence. The gift cannot cost 1.5. That gift, in fact, let me tell you, that gift was free. The person that painted it for pastor as a favor. But that is the gift that Bishop puts inside his study, that every time he sees it, he remember pastor. That Rolls Royce Corona, it is two. So the likely that Bishop will dash one out. You have the same color, white. You don't leave Canaan land to go to anywhere. The road, Otta Road, is bad. Very bad. So if you drive that Corona there too much, shock and have you bust. Bishop does not go by road again. If Bishop wants to come to Lagos now, every time he comes to Lagos, it's a helicopter. And doesn't come to Lagos often. Maybe Bishop comes to Lagos maybe 5 times. I mean, for you to bring Bishop to Lagos, you have to have spiritual capital. But that's why I say spiritual intelligence. That means somebody will give a gift. Doesn't cost much. But that is the gift the man needs. So it is spiritual intelligence that I want to teach. And how do you get it? Is that you understand. Let me tell you, pastor's wife came here. The leaders of, I'm not trying to boast because I celebrate God's grace and I am thankful for all God, something God has given me. I told them, I said, this gift I'm giving pastor's wife, when we give it to her, she will cry. What happened? It means she will start crying on stage. How did I know? But it's inexpensive. Because you must practice spiritual laws are powerful. How can I say somebody will cry and the person will cry? But in life, once you understand spiritual laws, don't practice Christian religion. Practice the Christianity that is built on spiritual principles. That's why when anything that is abused, the concept of seed now, giving, people are abusing it on social media. But let me now say something very powerful. Now, I've explained that every man is falling. All right? And every woman is falling. That means they have shortcomings, they have infirmities, they will come imperfect. All right? And I said the solution to the imperfections we see in society is love and compassion, intercession. Because spiritual laws are powerful. Let me tell you, I believe, see my wife, let me explain to you my wife. I fund some of our personal development. If my wife listens to me as much as she's supposed to, things will be different. But she respects me, but when somebody is married to you, you see you finish. So when it's me, if I say something here now, all of you say, pastor. If you argue, she can argue with me, say, I don't agree. It's your wife now, you don't agree, no, you can't say, I'm a pastor, girl. Oh, God, when I met you, you're a pastor, calm down. But how does a man, before I got married, I said, think about what I said. I said, if my wife is going to be president, I'll be the husband of the president. How does a man think like that? Not today, that if my wife destiny to be president, I will be the husband of the president. But for you to do that, you must understand how that works. Because if we don't use love, we'll just be teaching philosophy of men that has never worked. Wear nice shoes, dress well, do the way, talk to him nicely. As it work, all these things they teach you, different things. Now, it doesn't mean that they won't work, but when you practice what I'm teaching you, you understand those things naturally. Because what happens is spiritual, when I say spiritual, that means I prayed that God give me, I sowed the seed of prayer that whatever I'm going to give Pastor Tony, let it be something that will touch the best part of her heart. That was a seed I was praying. By the time the thing will come out, God gave me, do like this. Now, that's why when we give her that gift, she cried. And she told me that, she said, that thing is going to be in my study. I'm going to put it here. Someone, I don't know how somebody put like a car. But someone I will give her dress, shoe, nothing wrong with that. But I sowed a seed that God, as a matter of love, I want you to enable me anything that you want to communicate to her that will make her experience. She told me, said, this thing you gave me is a message about something I'm talking to God that spoke to something inside my heart. Are you understand what I'm saying? That means that thing, she didn't see it as a gift. She saw God speaking to her through that gift. And that's why that thing triggered tears. Not that nice clinical. She's not, that kind of okay. She was crying tears like this. Now, what I want to say to you is that even in your dealings with people, because if you don't understand this foundation, I've said to men, you don't have time. So any man here, I'm not saying you are married on time, but make up your mind that if you think that you have time, and it's not money. Nigeria is tough. I understand. So if you are living in London now, probably have a job, pay your bills. You might not be able to marry, because if you add marriage to it, your cost of living will go higher, or you'll be okay. So people say economic times, but if me, so let me when I use myself as an example, it's not to sell myself, just understand. When I got born again, secondary school, I was born again. University, I cancelled it. I became unborn again, and I spent 5 years. I was a bad boy, clear. But let me tell you, when I got to my final year, I used to say, final year, say to myself, I would marry early. And let me tell you why I said I would marry early. Not because I even understood many things. I had a women problem. When I say women problem, one of the women that was on my case, I knew that if a man does not settle down, if someone like me doesn't settle down, I could go pregnant 4 women. I will now have a complicated life. But if I marry, at least all the women, there will be some constraint to me. So it was just a decision I made because I was having women problem. That means small thing. This one don't like me. Small thing, that one don't like me. And if I'm not born again and I'm free, I can be liking them back now. Oh, yeah, I like this one. Like, you just have 4 girlfriends. Nobody will know. Be enjoying the liking from 4 people. So as my own just logical, okay, let me settle down on time so that this woman palaver, I will move to other things. Even if I will cheat, it's just I will doing it. With coded, I will not want it to cause problem. I will not want pregnancy to happen because I'm married. I will not want my wife to hear. So it's a logical, no spirituality inside. But guess what? Just because I was saying that consistently, I got married on time. I got married at the age of 28. You get? I got married at the age of 28. But the reason what I'm trying to drive at is that even though it was not a spiritual decision, I was born again, it made a difference. It made a difference. Because I had delay for 5 years. I didn't have a child for 5 years. Imagine if I decided I would do my own time. I'll marry at 35. And 5 years delay don't be part of my destiny. I don't know. I don't know now. She and I used to marry somebody who's like 34. We don't say we get 5 years delay. You know say the pressure, but when you are 28 and you have 5 years, you look and say, before 5 years since now, Baba go answer. So you go to fire year 1, year 2, you have time. So that's what I'm advising you. You don't know what lies ahead. So you don't have time. Sit down, do your ladies. Wake up! You don't have time. Except you don't want to marry. Some of you don't want to marry. Marriage is not my first. Paul the apostle is not married. If you are like somebody is apostle Joseph man is what he wants to become. Apostle Joseph wants to marry you. My friend, if that's what you are saying, the problem of being in that position, basically, open to now the woman to stay in private. You don't know. You will say that was state now, and now all women want to marry you because it's established. What I'm just saying is that make up your mind on time. Don't say money. First of all, you leave money aside. What do you? Because some women will tell me, the men, when you're an indecisive man, there's no way you marry. Because you don't even want to, there's one you say you're going to say, I would like to marry in the next 2 years. You might not have money at that point in time. Let's understand that, we understand. Okay, it's not wise for you to go and get married without having something you're doing. But at least you have decided by yourself that this is what I want to do. God, who is merciful, will now be bringing opportunities your way now. There's way you even take your life seriously when you want to marry on time. That this you not waste your time on frivolities. You know that, okay, if I'm going to marry in 2 years, I have to get a job. If you need a skill to develop a skill to help you increase your earnings, you start working on it. This is what I'm saying. This is what I'm saying is because there are some men they've been in a relationship with a woman for 6 years and 7 years, and they said, and the woman is saying how far. Say, well, you're pressuring me. What's it called? You're pressuring me. That is wickedness. Let me explain why. Because a woman doesn't, in practice, a woman doesn't have time. In practice, let's leave her. A woman also have, if you want to have a child, you cannot say that you have time. Once you are getting 30, you start thinking about your life. 31, 30. Because when you get to 40, it's a very, 40 has become, if you get married at 40, it doesn't mean you have children, but it will be stressful child bearing. So, and you start dating at the age of 28. After 7 years, she's 35. She asks me how far. You say, what kind of rubbish is this? Why are you stressing me? You are not a very good person. Think about it. That lady has only 5 years in practice left. You did that for 7 years. What do you want her to do? Don't you know that she's thinking about marriage? She'll be thinking about it now. Except she wants to do baby mama. And that one is really, that's why people just say, because that's why people do, that's why women are doing baby mama. It's not because they don't want marriage. It's that the men are willing to commit. So they just say, let me just get pregnant for him. That is the father of the child. Me, I don't born my own. Because women want to have children. That's just the truth. But it's not because they don't want to marry. There's nobody that doesn't want to have husband, wife, children. Why do you want to have husband that you will not see in 6 years? And do you want this for you to be by yourself? Anybody that is saying that baby mama is you, see, even husband, wife, with children, it's hard to raise children. Frank, you'll be running up and down thinking about them. You're at work. You can't tell somebody else. Like if you're married now, you can tell your husband, please, I'm coming later. See you. I'll be with children. You don't have anybody to call. You are not calling strangers. That's why we have a lot of child molestation these days. Because the people that you're handing your children over to some of them are not, they don't have basis to care for them. They are just transactional. Maybe you go and employ somebody, and the person can slap the child out of the way to come and sit down. Your mother doesn't pay you. That's what I'm saying. If you are a man and you are in a relationship with somebody, if you do 1 year, 2 years, okay, reason what you want to do in that relationship. Because that woman, trust me, she might not tell you she's thinking about pregnancy. She's looking at her time and saying, I'm not getting younger. A man has time, if in respect to, even if at 60, you can still marry a 30-year-old lady or 25-year-old lady and you get her pregnant. That's fine. But should we encourage that in this church? Definitely not. So I just want to end that part. Now, let me don't digress. The law of love and seed time. Now, this is what I'm saying. Anything you want, Holy Spirit, help this message to get across. Anything you want, the way to get it as a spiritual principle is to sow it. You know what I'm saying? Anything you want, as a law in the faith that we practice, is to sow it. Anything you sow, you will reap it. And you don't reap what you sow. You might not even reap where you sow, but you reap what you sow. Are you listening to what I'm saying? People are. So I give an example. And I'm teaching a spiritual law. Listen, I'm teaching a spiritual law that you have to practice. Let's give an example, for instance. I'm a pastor. I'm sowing seeds in people's lives. Pray for people, intercede for Sunday service. People come to me for counseling, I counsel them. I want to see people advance. I'm sowing seeds. If I don't need my children, we need people making sacrifices for them. But that's not what I'm doing. This is what I'm doing. Say is because God gave me the opportunity to do it. So let me give an example. Just an example. And this principle can be applied in everything. I'll give an example. My wife, when she was looking for a job, this is why I don't say the time she was looking for a job many years ago. And I was listening to is it Andrew Womack? I can't remember, one of these preachers. And he was talking about whatever you want, sow it. Whatever you want. So I saw it that for my wife to get a job, she needs to volunteer somewhere. Alright? At that point in time, there was a job she was trying to get. They had interviewed her, but they didn't take her. But they didn't, I don't know if they take her, it wasn't conclusive. So I told her, I said, I heard God say I should tell you to go and volunteer for that company. Go and work without pay as a spiritual law. She argued with me. You know, women are emotional. So she was interpreting that it will look like that she's trying to use backdoor to get the job. You get like, what would they think? They would think that they didn't give me now. Me, I now want to come and volunteer. What would they think? I said, leave down. I said, if they don't, one, if you apply, they will accept. Two, if you don't get a job from that, never respect my advice again. Because me, I knew it was spiritual law. She went and she took that volunteer job. Before 1 month ended, so the company has an HR firm. The organization has an HR firm on top of them. So one of the HR ladies used to come to that office, and she heard from someone that this lady, she's volunteering, she's just helping us run things. Then I say, there's a job. The first day she got this job, that lady collected her CV, and that was how she got the job. And the job was close to where we even live. That means this company she was volunteering was on the island. The job she got was in Ikeja, close to her house. So what I'm saying is that, and so that those things are laws. Whatever you want, spiritual laws, sow it. God wanted the whole world. What did he do? What did he do? He gave his only. No, go and the person that first gave only because you saw was Abraham, but you gave it as an act of faith, not in practice. But if you go and read that scripture, the same. In fact, that scripture is like John 2:16. If you read that scripture where Abraham responded to that, say, "For you have given your only begotten son, therefore I will make you a father of many nations." That's what God Abraham. But Abraham had to give. That's why we are called. That's why it's called the blessing of Abraham. God wanted all humanity. What did he do? Christ didn't come. Christ had to die as a seed. Now, bring it to relationship. Now, this is not a law. I'm just giving an example. But if you get this spiritual wisdom, I'm telling you, you will know how to apply it contextually. So, a guy comes to you, a lady. Guy comes to you, and it's not your type. His matter is complicated. Speaking here or speaking there. Now, my Lord, I've not compelled anybody to marry anybody by force in this church. So this is not even this teaching is not to say go and marry somebody by force. I'm not even saying you should go and marry tomorrow. But I'm just teaching truth that will help you be at peace. Because if you are spiritual laws work. I get spiritual laws work. Spiritual laws work. Spiritual laws work. Aye. So, and it comes, you don't like him. It's not your type. You don't even, maybe he doesn't have a lot of sense. And you're saying, and he's saying, I like you. I don't like you. Let's not even go there. But what you can do, because see that guy is got every man and woman, every soul is It's important for God to come and die for man. That means every man is important to God. It's you that don't value. It's we that don't value people. That will say useless boy, useless girl. Only I know, really. You know, God does not call you man like that.